Hello and welcome to the Bears and Lions podcast. This is the podcast where we challenge our present by viewing our past. I'm a firm believer that our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past, because when you actually look at it correctly, you probably see that there are some people that you're still holding on to, trying to bring into your future, even though they don't want to be a part of your future. Even if they say it, they really don't act it. Which that's what we're going to be talking about today, is kind of the conviction. And then also we're going to continue going through some of the mind shifts from Erwin McManus' book. This is incredible. Pick it up. It's amazing. But it's all about how we cannot take everyone with us. So I hope you enjoyed. This was an incredible conversation that I enjoyed. It was more for me than anybody, but I'll see you on the other side. So I wanted to continue our conversation from the last episode and continuing going through the book Mindshift by Erwin McManus. Now, there was one in particular in this book, one Mindshift, that just blew me away. It hurt in the best way possible, in the fact that when I read through it, it filled me with emotion and memories. And then I started kind of dealing with some of the memories that I had, where I was like, okay, yeah, this is a big area that needs a mind shift. And it's the idea that you cannot take everyone with you. So I want to break it down, because I think all of us have this kind of abandonment feeling where we don't want to lose certain things, right? And abandonment issues can come from a multitude of things, right? A plethora of things, not just parents, but I think a lot of us, we feel an abandonment when our favorite coworker leaves and gets a better job. It could be the most amazing move for them and the best thing for their family, but we still feel like they've abandoned us. They feel like, oh, like, you're too good for us here, so you go and get a better job. Even though we could do the same exact thing. In fact, sometimes we could even stay at a job out of fear of abandonment, where we stay at a job too long because we love our coworkers so much, or we love our boss so much, and we say, oh, I don't want to leave them with all this work. We do this all the time with this abandonment mentality or these issues. And it's all because I think that people are tribal by nature, but we're also relational by design. And when somebody is missing from our tribe, we will naturally want to go look for them. However, when somebody chooses to leave the tribe, at that point, we're emotionally hurt, because we feel like they're rejecting us, like they're rejecting the tribe in leaving. And it makes us way more protective over the people that are close to us. And when that takes place, it makes it so much harder for either them to leave or us to leave in the future. And as I was going through this, I realized, wow, there's so many abandonment issues that, you know, we hear no man left behind. I mean, that's great in war, and it's very understandable there, right? No man left behind. However, a lot of us are in life and we treat it as if it's war. So no man left behind, no friend left behind, no person left behind. And although that mentality is a decent one to have, I think it stems from the fact that we're afraid to let go, because oftentimes we'll stunt our own growth because we're so focused in holding on to the people in our past, or people who are just there for a time. They're seasonal friends, they're seasonal people. And don't get me wrong, seasonal friends are some of the most incredible things. If you look at friends as like seasons, and you have a rainy season that brings a lot of water, but it just saturates the ground and makes it so rich. And then later they leave and the sun comes out, and those sunny friends shine on that saturated ground, which grows so incredibly beautiful. And then everything eventually dies, and you have the friends that come along with a little bit of wind and help kind of dust away everything, making it clean again. I know that's a raw analogy, but it's the mentality that sometimes there are friends that are so important to you for a time. There are people in your life that are so important to you for a moment, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be with you forever. And I think we have this romanticized friendship that everybody is going to be best friends forever, because there's literally a show called Friends. But if you look at that show, there's a lot more people than just the main characters, and it's just like 5 of them. But we try to treat certain friend groups, we'll have a friend group of 3 here, a friend group of 4 there, a friend group of 6 there, and we will treat them as their own little tribes, and we'll hold on to them forever. When the reality is really you only get 5-ish people, and that's your tribe. And it's tough because in the reality of world, what I've learned is in the real world, you don't always get a choice to pick that. I have friends, I have old roommates of mine who I would die for today. I would absolutely die for. And I love them dearly. They're some of the best friends I could ever imagine. A few, I will name them. There's a few. Ben, Drew, who I was never a roommate, but he was one of my friends before I went back to school. Ben was a roommate, incredible. Devin, roommate, incredible. Those 3 just right there. I would even add Chandler as well because he was probably one of my best friends at school. There's a few others as well, but those are the people that come to mind when I think of like, wow, they were the most incredible people ever. But none of us are close anymore. We barely talk. I know Drew and I will randomly talk maybe once or twice a year, and it's as if we've never missed time. But it's hard because we want to hold on to those friendships. We want to hold on to that closeness. We want to feel like a tribe. And it's difficult because you can't take everybody with you. And so I wanted to break it down. And I remember one of the memories that came through was this. I went through some of my writings and I came through this where there's no more room on the plane. And I realized that a lot of us are trying to do leadership things. A lot of us are trying to do career goals or maybe physical goals where it's us. We need to take ownership. We need to be leaders of our lives and make a change. We need to make a mind shift is what the book is all about. But I've talked with many of you and I've listened to many of you and I've seen a lot of the posts, and we all want to lead our lives. And in order to lead our lives, we have to become leaders. And I was going through this writing in one of my journals that said there's no more room on the plane, and it brought back this memory where I remember flying back from a mission trip to Ireland, and there was a big group. We had 19 of us in this group, and there was this massive plane debacle where only a certain few could get on our original flight. They didn't have enough room on the plane for all 19 of us somehow. They double booked, triple booked, or something like that. So 12 of us had to stay in Ireland for the night. And I think it was 12. And then after that day, the next day, we, the 9 of us that were there, we were like, okay, or no, I think it was 12 of us total. So after that, the next day, 12 of us were left, and they had another plane debacle, and they couldn't get the rest of us on the flight. So 9 of us got on a flight. 9 of them. I was a part of the 3. 3 of us ended up staying a little bit longer, and we got on a different flight connected to the States. However, we couldn't get to our home destination of Chattanooga, Tennessee. 9 went to Atlanta. They were able to get rides up to Chattanooga, which is really close. But 3 of us ended up going to Newark, New Jersey. And there was a plane issue. And I remember we were sitting in the area where we were supposed to get a flight to Atlanta. And we were sitting in the terminal, and all of a sudden the fire alarms start going off. And I'm talking like everybody's just continuing doing their stuff, and there's a fire alarm. We're tired. We're exhausted. We just start laughing. Like, we just laughed hysterically for like at least 5 minutes because the fire alarm's going on and everybody's acting like it's not. Eventually, we knew it was going to happen, but our flight to Atlanta was canceled. And so they put us up in a hotel, and we got an early flight. The only flight out was to Memphis, Tennessee. Still like 5 hours away from home. And there were no flights from Memphis to Chattanooga. And after a long debacle, finally there was a flight where there were 2 seats available. So out of the 3 of us, 2 of us got to go home. Myself and another, we ended up going home. The leader of the entire group stayed. Now, my whole point in that story, and one of the reasons why it came to mind, is the fact that there was just not enough room on all the planes to get home at all the right times. And we do this in life where we think that everybody is going to go into our future. Everybody is going to cheer us on. Everybody is going to jump into our boat and help us bail water when we crash, or they're going to help us at any moment, or they're going to be there at all times. But the reality is sometimes there's just not enough room on the flight. And we have to choose as leaders of how we want to lead that moment. Sometimes we need to get on that flight and get home. I remember in the first group, there were people who had to get home to jobs. And so they were priority. They had to get home immediately. And so they were able to prioritize and say, yeah, we need to go. But others said, no, I'm going to stay and I don't need to make it there. So I'm going to allow and serve, and I'm going to let you go. I don't need to be home immediately. And I just thought it was a unique memory that came to mind, because literally we couldn't take everyone with us. We couldn't find a way to get everybody to go. And it was a crazy story and a crazy memory. But now as I look back, it was one of those things that kind of helped teach me that you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize who's most important. You have to prioritize what's most important. You have to be able to take the lead and say, I will stay behind, as the leader did. And I was so impressed by that leadership. And when I think about it, whether you're in your pursuit of a career or pursuit of schooling or a relationship, whatever that might be in, leadership is still the same, right? A leadership, whether it is in the, I would say, realm of relationships, right? Leadership, whether it's in business or relationships, you still have to lead, and it requires the ability to prioritize, right? Who and what's most important. I love what Erwin McManus says in the book Mindshift. He says, as a leader, you cannot make decisions based on who you have. You have to make decisions based on who you serve. Meaning that what's important to you will manifest itself as conviction, and you will become whatever your convictions are. So if your conviction is to lose weight, then you will focus on losing weight more than anything else. If your conviction is to become successful at whatever job you have, you will focus on that job, and that is going to be your conviction. So you will continue to do that. If your conviction is to be the best husband or the best father in the world, your conviction will drive you to be there for your family, loved ones, and making sure that you serve at all times. So you have to be able to turn on that switch that says, this is no longer important. You are wasting my time. And it's actually been one of the more valuable things where I've been able to recognize that certain people in my life, they don't need to take my time. My time is valuable. So I'll, spend some extra time if I have it with certain people, but other people, they may message me, they may be around, or they may come up in an idea or a post or whatever I see. And I don't have time for that. And it's not that I don't love them. It's not that I don't care. My conviction is stronger than wanting to be a part of that. Because anytime I have those conversations or talk with them, it may be one of those things where it's like, it was good, but I could have been using my time with so much more. And I want to make sure that I'm focused on those things, because you need to meet and you need to find those people who are going to inspire you, who are going to add value to your time, who are going to challenge you. I have friends who specifically don't agree with me, whether it's relational or emotional or mental or spiritual. They don't believe in what I believe, but I have people who will challenge me, who believe different, who I like talking to. They bring value and add value to my time, because they are not just going to waste it. They're going to challenge and make me think of new things and creative things and be able to build upon my future. And I, with them, hopefully am inspiring them to build their future. And I just think it's important that we don't kind of close mind ourselves into a solo tribal thought, right? Sometimes we think groupthink, it becomes such a big issue where it's like, everybody around us says the same thing. We think the same things. We act the same way. Okay, that's great. But are we able to challenge each other in new ways to create the future that we want? Or are we all just going after the same future? And I think that's what's most difficult in finding a relationship, especially nowadays, is so many people want to do so many different things that it's hard to find people who are going on the same path as you, in the same direction as you, with the same speed. And in some cases, you just have to let them go because they're going to diverge. And that's exactly what this last point is that there comes a divergence, right? There comes a point where they no longer want or are traveling your path. And the definition of divergence can mean a difference or a conflict in opinions, interests, or wishes, or pretty much anything, right? A difference or a conflict. And to me, that sounds like most of the past relationships, where eventually it gets to a point where what I am pursuing is different from what they're pursuing. And so you come into a fork in the road, almost like that scene from Fast and the Furious where Dom goes one way and Brian goes the other. Like it does come to a divergence of the fact that there are going to be people in your life where you have to go. If you want what you believe you're meant for in life and your conviction says, I know I can do this. I know I can do this job. I know I can move and live in this city where I have this job opportunity. Yeah, it's going to put a strain on this relationship, but I know I should do this. Then you need to go do that. That is your conviction telling you to go and do what you believe you're supposed to do. Because that person, a lot of us, we won't. A lot of us will hold on and we'll say, no, I can't take that job opportunity. That's a dream opportunity because I am in a relationship here. And that would mean that we're long distance. And then we probably wouldn't last. Well, if you're worried that you're not going to last just on the whim like that, you're probably not going to last anyway. So you might as well go take your conviction and move to that other city and try. And the other aspect of it, we do it in other areas too, with family members and things like that, or friends, friend groups. Oh, I don't want to leave this friend group, or I don't want to go to this new city, to this new job. All my friends are here. Okay, that's tough. And I get it. I understand wanting to stay close to your friends, but when your conviction is telling you to move forward into your future, build your future, it gives you the opportunity to meet new people that are on that same path. I think Alex Hormozy says it where he says it's the lonely path. It might be Chris Williamson, but he talks about the lonely path where you are convicted and you start working towards what you want, but you're in the area where you no longer fit in with your old friends, but you haven't met your new friends yet. So it's just you on this path by yourself. And that's, I think, where a lot of people are, especially if you're, I don't know, anywhere from 20 to 35, maybe even older than that, is you get into this area where it's hard, but you just have to carry through because eventually you're going to meet the people in your new step, in that new area, in that new destination or that new goal or that new thing. And then you're going to grow and outgrow them eventually if you want to continue moving forward. If you're completely content, then you'll stay and those will be your friends. And that's great because that's where you build that community and you build that growth. However, everybody is always evolving and we're always growing. So the number 3 mind shift out of the book is you cannot take everyone with you. You cannot take everyone with you into your future. There comes a divergence that what they want is not the same as what you want. And if you're not careful, you get into this proverbial tug of war. And it can take years until you realize that the best thing for both of you is to let go and allow both of you to go your separate ways and build your own futures. I know that it's difficult because we don't want to let go and we don't want to give up on people. We want to stand strong. We want to be loving and caring and bring as many into the future as we can with us. However, there's going to be people who don't have our vision. They don't have our drive. They don't have our conviction, and they're not going to do it. And it's like carrying dead weight. It's that friend that you say, hey, let's go work out. And they say, yeah, okay, maybe once. And then the rest of the time, you're just dragging them until eventually they say, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you stop doing it. And I've done that before in my life. And I don't want to do that anymore. My conviction is to reach the goals that I have. And when I reach those goals, those will be the people around me who are traveling towards those goals as well. Those are be the people that I meet. And those are going to be my friends. And those are going to be the people who I can get along with in the sense of we both are challenging each other. And of course, not everybody is going to make it with you. But at the same time, this is not me saying, okay, ditch all your friends. There are friends who are very valuable, who are going to watch you go towards your goals and still love you and still make effort and still put time in. And you should put time into those people as well, because they're the people who later, they're going to go do really cool things and you want to cheer them on as well. Even though you may not be in the same realm or chasing after the same things, there will still be a part where it's like, okay, I left the tribe, you left the tribe. We're both doing really awesome things. Let's cheer each other on. So I know it's a lot. I know it's an important conversation that I thought I needed to have, especially in reading this book. It was just so powerful where I was like, man, you really can't take everyone behind. Maybe you're in a relationship. I was talking with somebody recently who was going through this, and they just felt this guilt of I don't want to hurt them. That's a part of life. Pain happens. We can have a whole conversation on the fact that pain is just a part of life. And you need to understand that sometimes you cannot avoid hurting others. There is an accurate way about that. So I feel like we should have a full conversation. That's going to do it for this conversation. Let's wrap up. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like and subscribe, share, all the good stuff. Connect with me on social media. I love hearing from y'all. For everybody else, remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.